The little boat that I had, 16-foot tracker with a 40 on it, Mercury 40. It was a good little boat, but it wasn't stable enough in some of the water that we like to be in. So very narrow, didn't have much beam. This boat, much better. I mean, we've gotten into stuff I shouldn't have been in. Never even had a consideration about the stability of this boat. It's fantastic. But one of the things that I noticed is, and I didn't know not to expect it, when I bought this one, the old little boat, which was a cheapie, actually had a Deadman built into this, where there was another strap that went from this eye loop here, and it had another loop here where you could hook it. So that would guarantee that if your winch crapped out or you lost this sprag or pawl or whatever it is, you wouldn't send your boat flying into the road. And that little cheapo boat had it. This boat doesn't, and it aggravates me a little bit, because I'm sure this is about as high quality as the taillights, and probably cost a nickel. So I've got a $40,000 boat sitting, being restrained only by probably one of the more inexpensive ratchet winches that's available. So I tried to figure out how to do that, and I couldn't find many winches that actually had that built-in Deadman. So I picked up this, which they call it a boat buckle, but it's basically a secondary winch or secondary ratchet strap that you can install that will just act as a secondary hold down in case that fails. So that's what we're going to try to do today. The instructions say I need to mount it pretty much vertically, which was going to give me a little bit of a weird motion, because it's got to be at least 12 inches from that. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it, but we're going to figure something out, and that's what we're going to do. So the attachment for this thing is a little unique. It only uses this one hole to hold it in. It comes with one big honking bolt that would fit across this frame if I wanted to mount it here, which I may do, but there are 3 bolts here which would also provide, I think, a pretty good attachment point, which actually would twist it a little less over that frame. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out one of these bolts that holds this thing in, and I believe I may have to drill this hole out just a little bit, just to clearance it, and then I can get this attached using this, one of these. Could even do it like that, which I think is going to work fine, because as long as it's ratcheted down, I think I may want to do that, because then it doesn't touch anything. That's probably the best mounting point. It doesn't rub on anything. It's exactly where I need it, and it's actually pulling kind of away from the other strap up top. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to pull that back bolt out and maybe clearance that hole a little bit, mount it on this side, and I think that's going to be all it's going to take. I won't even need to use their hardware, which would be fantastic. All right, so we got the back bolt out, the 3/4 inch hex, and which probably makes this a 1/2-13, and that is just ever so slightly too snug. And what I want to see, is, will this present any clearance problems for this? Nope. The release will still work if that nut is in there, so that's going to work nicely. Okay, so I'm going to go drill that out just a little bit, and we'll be right back. Perfect. This is where one of these speed bits really comes into its own. Because you try to do that with a standard drill bit, and there's no good way to clamp this thing. You're just going to rip it out of your hands, throw it across the room, and hurt yourself. This, I was able to hold it in my hand and drill that thing out just a little bit, and it's just absolutely perfect. So now we're going to see if we can set the camera up, take a video of putting it back on. Oh. Helps you tighten rather than loosen. Well, now it's going the right direction. Now we're getting into the elastic part. There she is. So, you can hang it up there. And there we go. Pull this clamp under it, ratchet it. Oh yeah, she's not going anywhere. Release. And she is ready to go. So I'm pretty happy with that. Didn't have to drill any more holes in the frame. And now I've got a safety to keep my boat on in case this little clicker decides to fail, because that thing doesn't weigh much. But easy enough. All right, so it's kind of a how-to, but more of just a recommendation. If you don't have a Deadman on your boat trailer, not a bad way to install one. Fairly simple, reasonably inexpensive, and good enough. Talk to y'all later.